Hello, everyone. Welcome to the self-care weekend. We'll be starting in about 15 minutes with Manal leading a session on embodied parenting. This is self-care for parents starting in 15 minutes. If anyone would like to watch this on Facebook, I'm posting the link in the chat now.
So,
Hello, Manal.
how are you
Well,
doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. You look still sane.
I'm struggling a little bit getting into the technology. I've just worked out how to live stream to Facebook, which I'm very happy with. My browser was blocking pop-up windows before, but we're getting there. We're getting it working. It's good getting some practice.
Yes. Uh, it is. Well, that's what it was supposed to be, isn't it? Actually, I'm going to sit in. So, Shana? Yeah, I think Steve is kind of, uh,
A wonder. I don't know how he manages to, I don't know, stay sane doing everything that he does.
yeah. Mm. I think the kind of the issue, which I don't think it's going to be there in the at the conference, is that today there are a mix of channels in the schedule, or it's kind of like so many different things. But maybe I don't know. We'll see.
It's a mix of channels, and we don't have as much time in between sessions. So I can feel my stress levels quite high because it's just sort of go. It's like one session's finishing and the next one's starting. It's very quick going between them.
I just wonder if this would happen before, so many people got used to working with Zoom, if we would have had the same kind of issue with Blue Dreams. You're good? No. You done?
Well, I think that the last conference was similar. No one was used to working with Zoom on the last conference, and they were doing it all on Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that one was even more unconventional. It's embodiment online. Who would have thought?
Whereas now people are a lot more used to doing things online.
Okay, that's
They should be just finishing up now.
Mm-hmm.
Start getting people through soon.
So are you guys asking if anyone wants to join in, right? In the beginning.
Yeah, we'll start by asking if anyone wants to be visible on screen. They can raise a hand. Do you particularly want people visible so that you can have some interaction?
Yes. Yeah. I think very much relational, that talking into the void is,
Yeah, it
it's
helps to
just,
see a facial reaction every now and again.
yes, unsettling. And I think for some people that they have a content and they're just downloading it. And that's another way of, you know, transforming information. But I think, yeah, at least if what I'm saying makes sense or not. Yeah, what I would do, and I think would be easier, is to invite participants to use the Q&A button for questions about the session.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed in the chat, it kind of goes,
It gets lost.
it gets lost, and so.
Hi, Steve. I succeeded. I managed a live Facebook broadcast. We are broadcasting now on the Leadership and Business channel. Yeah, I will get some fist action there.
I love some fisting of BJs. I mean, I hope this is Facebook live streaming now. That's
Hello, Facebook Live people.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Blue Jeans, which we've nicknamed BJ.
cut it.
Gonna be forever out there, Yolanda.
And we've
All
got
right.
some attendees starting to arrive. Welcome. This is a session on embodied parenting or self-care for parents. If you would like to be visible on screen, please do raise a hand, request interactivity. Just don't interfere and speak over Manal or try sharing your screen. But she would love some people to feedback with.
Maybe it's worth putting this in a text and just putting it in the comments at some point. But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff to kind of remember and put out. One is something that I need to actually find myself is anyone wants to be in contact. Yeah. So if anyone is joining on Facebook, we still have a few minutes left.
We'll be starting the session in about 5 minutes.
All right.
It's funny, my 13-year-old today asked me, he said, Mom, in the embodiment world, where do you rank? It's like, okay, I'll say a fourth generation. We're not ranking people, but like, yeah, but it was a funny question.
Are you a big name?
Am I a big name? Do I get it?
You've got a big surname, sort of. No, it's much longer than mine anyway.
Yeah.
That's a big name.
Yeah, that's a long name. Okay.
All right. Let me see. Would you like Who's going to do the honours of introducing Manal?
I'm happy to give Manal a little introduction.
The intro, alrighty. I mean, don't make her sound too good. We don't want her, becoming too big of a name, obviously. She is the leadership team of the Embodiment Conference. I'm the most important people on this conference for anyone watching.
I can make anyone disappear. That would be cool power to have, honestly.
And yeah, if anyone's kind of watching us, we all know each other and we're just kind of joking. We're not actually like being deadly serious here. Just in case you're going, oh, these guys are silly, which we are.
Oh, thanks, Kate. You're not a parent? Well, it's welcome. Anyone is welcome. Yeah, we're just gonna many things about self-care that will be repeated, and probably find something that would be helpful in any context. Just happen to be parenting. It's one of those things that we think we know what we're supposed to be doing, but we ultimately have no idea how to do this thing.
And again, anyone, if you want to join as a presenter so you can have your video on or something, or so that Manal's not just talking to herself, because obviously we all do enough of that when we think anyway, do raise your hand or type if you'd like to be on screen. Yeah, thanks.
Hello, Katrina. Yes, Kate. We do need. I actually offer an parenting with presence, kind of a 6-week coaching program, and I have someone who isn't a parent and was interested to know how to parent herself. Okay, grew up as the caretaker. Okay. Hi, Jessica. Seen you in many sessions already. Hi, Sandra.
Jessica has a lovely background. I wish that was my background.
I actually have a video of me creating it on Facebook.
We've also got Facebook live stream running in the portal on that live stream as well. I think there's actually more people on live stream in Facebook than here. So anyone on the Facebook live stream, if you'd like, you can also join us in the BJ's room, the Blue Jeans room, and yeah, you can get in there in the portal. So that's the portal that you got sent on the email today if you registered, or I can post it below this in Facebook as well. So it's more interactive if you join it. Anyway, I'll shut up. I'm probably going to take 2 minutes away from the screen during this session now because I haven't left it all day. And yeah, Yolanda will be there. I'll be back with my video off in probably 10 minutes.
All right, so it's 1 o'clock. So shall we get the session started? I'd like to introduce Manal, who is on the leadership panel for the Embodiment Conference, which kind of makes her my boss. She's also an embodiment and movement coach and facilitator. She's trained in a lot of different disciplines, including conscious dance, leadership embodiment, embodied yoga principles. And she's an advocate for mental health, holistic well-being, and social and environmental responsibility. So, Manal, over to you.
That sounds awesome. Thank you, Yolanda. Well, welcome everyone. And for those who are joining in, if you'd like to kind of join me and Yolanda in, in the semi-public sphere, you can let us know. You can have your camera on. I would not be recorded, right, Yolanda? No, just me. Yeah. Just to have an interaction, it's much easier to see your faces. And so, yeah, welcome. And we'll kind of have talk about self-care and parenting, do a little bit of an experiment, and then we'll have a chance at the end for a Q&A. And you have a Q&A button on the side. Everything is optional in this session, and I do encourage parents, especially because, doing whatever we want is quite sometimes a luxury, especially for those who have younger ones. So I really encourage you to, do whatever you need, take care of yourself. If you need to take this session laying down, if one of the experiments you don't feel like doing, just let it go and maybe watch the recording later. So if I don't, I'm going to repeat this because as a parent, I need to be encouraged, like, oh, okay, you don't have to do this. You're not a parent in this context. So welcome. I've been working with embodied coaching for, the last 4 or 5 years. And I was kind of getting into more of the parenting, okay, let me specialize with this since I have 2 kids, they're 13 and 15 boys. And when lockdown happened and, kids were home since March and then really long holiday, summer break, I had to kind of reflect on what really helped me survive most of these days. There were the days that I wanted to just disappear and just go to another planet, yes, but it was way better than if this happened 5 years ago. And the embodiment tools that I've learned and was really amazing. And it really confirmed that this is what parents are who I want to be coaching and talking to. And yes, self-care. Let me just ask, and you can put it in the chat. How many times as a parent have you made a good decision? And I'm saying a good decision. I'm not saying the right decision. A good decision when you were stressed. I'd love to, to hear from you if that was your experience. Yes, definitely not. That's, as a parent, it's, there's so many things that needs to be done. And with the stress of it all, we mess up and things don't happen really well. And I know that there are some people who are not parents here. Welcome. And let's say any kind of decision or anything, were you able to do the -100? Yes. It's generally, we are less capable of making good decisions when we are under stress, when we're exhausted, when we are, overwhelmed. And I know in the previous sessions, Yasmin talked about polyvagal theory. Stephen Porges is gonna, be later in the day talking about, the neurological, the wiring that we have from a nervous system perspective. But for me as a parent, as a person, if I am well, if I had slept enough, not too hungry, rested, I'm better able to make better decisions. Yes, maybe I make the wrong decision and it's not a good call, but my probability of doing that is a lot better. So why would you think Actually, let me start with the question of what is self-care to you. Maybe this question came up earlier in the day. If you already had attended a few sessions, maybe you just joined us today, right now. I mean, what is self-care to you? And if you want to, for those who want to take yourself off mute and answer, or you can also put it in the chat as well. And maybe self-care is not something that comes on top in your sphere of awareness of like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure is always a good answer. Nurturing self, getting enough sleep and exercise. Feel good. Recognize that it's not my job to make everyone feel good. Roshan, yes, it's listening to my own needs. Yes, I think we could put self-care in any way, especially in a parenting context. To me, self-care is expanding my capacity to be and fill in the blank. So it's expanding my capacity to be patient. It's going to feel my needs and try to fulfill them. And if you want to have, the question of what would you want to be as a parent? Who the parent that you want to be for your child? If you can put down, any qualities that you have that you would want to have as a parent, and if you're not a parent, as just maybe a nice human you'd want to have. What qualities would you like to have as a parent? So for me, patience is a big one, of like making a request, waiting for the 7-year-old or the 10-year-old to get up, presence, all of the cool qualities that we would love to have. So loving space holder. So self-care is expanding my own capacity to be patient, to be calm, to be any of these qualities that we would want to have. So since this is the embodiment, we have to, the body is a big part of what we're talking about. And we've been chatting, oh wow, it's been 10. Yeah, been a while. So if you feel like standing up, I'm going to remain seated because that's what I could, it's better. Honey, I'm not seeing my video. Anyway, so you could tell me if the video is good or not. So you could stand up, you could be sitting down. Good, okay. And I'll move sideways so you could see. If you would bring your hands up so it's heart level and up, like you're creating this space in front of you. And you can imagine that this is your capacity. This is what you are able to actually do. Now, move forward. We can take a few seconds, settle down. You don't need to be looking at the screen for this. And in your own self, you could ask, what is my capacity right now to be any of these qualities that you want to? Patience, calm. And it could be very small. could be a bit bigger. And just bring to mind a situation or something. At any point, if your hands kind of feel tired, you could let them down, shake it off a little bit, bring it up again. And if, 0, your kid or the person in front of you is doing everything that they're asking them to do, and 10 being, I can't look at them anymore, and I just don't want to see them. Because, yeah, as a parent, I do think about these things. It's like, why did I ever become a parent? What was happening in my head when I decided to be a parent? And I just wish you would disappear. And I don't know if any parent here never had these thoughts. Please drop me a line. I'd like to know what you do in your life. So with that situation, so between 0 and 3, pick something that it's 3. So maybe your child didn't get up right away. Maybe they did not pick up their dirty clothes, the wet towel off the floor. And come back to this posture and see, really, how much of that quality of patience are you having? Like, oh my goodness, I've said, pick up your wet towel off the floor like a billion times. I have no patience. And if nothing comes up, you can so notice that. And now slowly we'll go to the self-care posture, which doesn't matter which hand. One hand would come on your shoulder, one underneath. One way or another, whatever is comfortable for you. And if this is not comfortable, you can just bring your hands. And just notice your breath. And imagine what it would be like to have 5%, maybe 10% of that quality of presence, patience. And when you're ready, you can bring your hands up again to that capacity that you have. And what would be the thoughts, the actions, what would you do with that situation? So, picking up your wet towel off the floor. When you're ready, let it go. And do you notice any difference or any shifts that happen between thinking of that annoying, frustrating thing in the beginning, getting a bit of self-care, and if maybe your capacity, your ability to deal with that have increased a bit? I'd love to be survival mode. Put it in the chat. Yes, survival mode. Yes. I felt safer. Yeah. I think as a parent, survival mode can be sometimes the default. Or increased patience and empathy. Do you feel better equipped or able to be those qualities that you want to have as a parent? First pose. So self-care really is about our own capacity to deal with whatever it is. And if we neglect that, our capacity can become smaller and smaller. So essentially, and one of the things that I keep reminding parents is self-care is not a luxury at all. It's what really helps us increase our capacity, increase the chances that we are the parent that we would want to have for our kids. And I know as a parent, sometimes it's not, we think that it's not possible because we want to have the day out, we want to have the evening out, and self-care could be seen as this one spa day, which is, and the theme of this weekend is beyond bubble bath and spa days. I'd like to get a sense, is what I'm saying making sense? Do you feel like, yeah, maybe this is something I need to be working on more? And even the word need to work on it more, it's makes it put like, oh, I have to do this thing. So what would be a self-care today, right now? What would your thoughts be? If anyone has any questions, please put it in the Q&A. Sometimes a moment of silence is a great self-care, especially if you have forgive myself. Yeah. I think the ultimate self-care for parents, although there's always competing, which one is the ultimate one, is to really internalize the fact that we will make mistakes. I think self-care means take the day off. So I'm still in my jammies and I'm not obliged to help anyone else day right on. It's amazing how not changing from your pajamas can have. Meeting a friend for a walk, deep breathing and silence by myself. Yeah. I was saying about what I think the ultimate self-care is internalizing the fact that we will make mistakes. And Dan Siegel, who is part of in the conference in October, kind of have this, rupture and repair that is, to me was like, wow, I wish I had known this before. In our relationship with our kids and even our relationship with other people is, we mess up and we need to repair. It's rupture and repair. That's a healthy attachment, secure attachment, that we know that things will be ruptured and we will lose our mind. I'm gonna scream, I'm gonna shout, I'm gonna do things that I don't want to be doing because I'm under a lot of stress, and these things happen. And who said it, Livia, forgiving myself, it's like, okay, this is something that happens, and that's okay. So even with, Yolanda, go ahead. You're muted, Yolanda. You're still muted. You're still muted, Yolanda. Okay, is that about the Q&A? Okay, got it. Self-care is awesome. Do you incorporate these self-care actions with household actions thinking of parents who don't know how to manage their time and children's needs. Yes, I think for me, once I realized that, why do I need self-care to increase my capacity and to be able to repair the rupture when it happens? It's like, having water and eating and drinking and all these things. And because that's what it's needed, I need to find times within my day. I can't take the day off. Now my kids are a bit older, but I know for those who have, kids under age of 5, it's really difficult sometimes to have that day off. So this could be and just even maybe a breath. So if you'd like, come back to this self-care again. And take a breath and notice your breath coming in any way you'd like it to be. Breathe out. That takes about, 30 seconds? And that, if we keep practicing and it becomes an internalized practice, that it happens like, okay, I can take a few seconds, give myself a hug, breathe consciously if I can't physically do that. I do that sometimes when I'm driving. It's like, just that. You can go ahead and do that. Just that could be self-care. But the thing is that we don't value, generally as a culture and as parents that are supposed to be doing everything for their kids, and we're going to be super parents and super moms, and our kids should be well-fed, healthy, organic, non-processed, non-dairy, non-gluten, and they should be great at sports and doing well in math and speak 5 languages and play maybe 2 instruments and in their play and it can get a bit overwhelming. It is overwhelming. So letting that out, knowing what is my capacity to do right now and what is not my capacity to do right now. And sometimes my capacity is this big or this small, and that's okay. And at that point, I really need I can't be sitting, watching this movie, or I cannot be helping you with homework. I need to go increase that capacity on my own, find something to give me that again. Then when I'm back in the interaction, I can have that capacity of bringing everything in. So incorporating self-care in your day, it's great to have once a month a day where you can completely disconnect, and not even sometimes when I'm having those days off from traveling, I really, really enjoy the feeling of it's just me, Manal. I'm not a parent. I'm not a wife. I'm not anything. It's just me. I know I see some parents that they struggle with that and they feel guilty about knowing, I feel guilty about taking this time. I feel guilty about looking after myself. And that's part of it. Yeah. And there was a thought that was going on with all this. I've been killing myself inside with this awful guilt. Really, wait. Yes. Yes, I think, guilt. Yay. Who is a parent and never felt guilty? Again, please drop me a message and let me know what do you do. But it's one of the things that happened. That happens. We rupture, we do things that we don't want to do, and we go back again, increase our capacity, come to a place where we are expanded, even internally, for a few minutes, and then taking action. Another piece, yes. Another piece that is with self-care that is really, I find not missing, but as parents we don't think of much, is rest. Resting and however you are sitting right now, become aware of how you are sitting, what you're doing right now. See if you can be a bit more comfortable. Maybe come to a restful position. How does that translate in your self? Rest. What direction is rest for you right now? Is it front, back, left, right, up, down? And if you're not sure, stay with that rested posture a little bit. To me, rest is going inside, down, and back. So it's like now, how many times in your day do you do that? I think parents are, hopefully you're taking this time and just resting and not interacting, which is great and awesome. How can you bring more rest into your day? That it's not necessarily sleep. There's a big difference between going to sleep and resting. And I know as parents, we get up, we do the time, especially now with the added luxury of virtual schools. And, that's my case. I don't know where you are in the world, but like, yay, we have our kids 24/7. What a blessing. 0. Yes. Inside, up, and around. That's interesting. Yes. So how can you bring rest? And if you're not sure, you can, and because sometimes it could be something that it's not relaxing into poses, yes. Something that we're not familiar with, we want to get familiar with it and listen to our own body's wisdom that it's telling us what is self-care for me right now. So the self-care posture is great to also find answers to these questions. And if I'm rested and I'm really connected with that feeling of self-care, okay, so what would be self-care that I could do today? It would be great if you could, ask that question and find a few answers, things that takes you 30 seconds in your day. It's great to have reminders throughout, day. Maybe when you make yourself a cup of tea, maybe when you're waiting for your child to put their shoes on, and they're just not doing that. Finding those times within your day to 30 seconds of self-care, breathing, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The more choices you have and you might be want to become creative with this, is let's see how many self-care options do I have. So it is the monthly visit to the spa. It's maybe the weekly call with my best friend, and every few days I'll go for a walk. Maybe drinking, water in the morning. Music, putting music on and just letting yourself go. And I feel like we've been sitting for quite some time. And so if you'd like to get up, have a little bit of a shake. Maybe according to however you want. Now when you're shaking and doing that silly stuff, and you're all muted, so you could say it out loud if you want, like, oh, what would be the stressful things of parenting? It's like, oh, work. If someone asks me one more time, what's for dinner? And I keep it coming, whatever it is. And if you want, you could put it in the chat. It's like, oh. Especially those things that are repetitive every day that we're doing, and we hate doing them. Who loves laundry? I have to do the laundry. And see if that, what's that? Mommy, what's that? So let's play with it. Mommy, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? Why? Why? Why do we have to do this now? I can't hear you Russian, but yes. But I want it now. I want it now. I don't want it in 3 seconds. And now, see, what do you need right now? Noticing how you feel. How is that for you? Really take a minute, ever you want. If you have any thoughts and ideas of what this would have a kind of a mental note. You're doing this day or before going to bed. And when you're ready, slowly you can come back. Any ideas of self-care that popped while you're doing, while you're moving? How was that experiment for you of just shaking it off? The tension I was carrying in my mid-back till I did that, yes. So going back to self-care and why it's important. Do you get that? It's it's really essential. And no one ever says that. As soon as I know I was pregnant, was going to have a kid, all the things that I need to be doing, and leave aside all the judgments and ideas and theories that you should or you shouldn't do, blah, blah, blah. Am I doing it right? You're not doing it right. It's endless. And we lose that touch with who we are and what do we really need? What do we really want for ourselves and our kids? So coming back, Livia says, for me, it is coming back to one of my wishes is to learn to move out of relaxation and not tension. I do not know if this makes sense to you. Yes, it is a practice. Yep. Instead of, and to me that's when, I've heard about so many people, Stephen Porges, Dan Siegel, and even, many people when they talk about the capacity or the window of tolerance, it's that, it's because self-care helps me expand that, helps me move from that tension to relaxation, which helps me be a better parent, helps me make better decisions in all aspects. So, and it's a practice that, we've been practicing moving from tension, like Livia, you said, for so many years. I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years of doing, not sitting with this feeling of rest. Now these days I find myself going to my room, closing the door, closing the light, and laying down on the floor. Not meditation, not yoga posture, nothing. And whatever you could do is good. I'm not a meditation teacher, I'm not a mindfulness teacher, but as a parent, I know I'll do what would help me increase that capacity and self-care, even if it's not the proper way of doing it. So if I, staying for a few minutes in my bed and doing a quick body scan, yeah, I never heard a meditation teacher or a body scan done when you're laying on your left side and your hand kind of tucked into your pillow and you're hugging your blanket. But it works. It gives me that feelings like, okay, these are 5 minutes that I'm spending with my own self, and the purpose is self-care. I need to lie down sometimes. To me, it really works wonders. If I'm in an argument with, or my kid is having a tantrum, I go down, lay down on the floor, let that go, and go back and talk about it. Actually, a big piece that I kind of missed out with this whole capacity, why we need to increase our own capacity is that our kids feed from that. So if I can have that on my window of tolerance, my capacity to regulate myself, center, whatever name you want to have it, call it, is relaxed, then my kid would know how to do that. Kids resonate with how we are feeling, even if we're not saying it. So they feel that we are tense, they feel that we are stressed, they feel that our capacity is very tight and very limited, and their capacity is limited because of that. So it's not just for us to be able to regulate ourselves and be there and make good decisions. Our kids learn to do that for themselves by watching us and feeling us doing it. So, parenting with presence, parenting is such a big thing, and a lot of things that we'd like our kids to grow up to be. They're going to have to learn it from us. And all kids learn from what we do, not from what we say. Be relaxed. Watch your tone when you're talking to me. It's like, I've said it so many times, it's like, relax. And it's like, wow, how would this kid be able to even access this relaxation if the adult, who is me, in front of him is not able to do that? They learn from what we are doing. And I was having a conversation with David Berceli, who is also on the self-care. I don't know if he's presenting today or tomorrow, and he's talking about how co-regulation happens with parents. And he was talking about mothers specifically. He's like, kids have lived in the womb for months, and they kind of tune in with the mother's nervous system. And he was saying, and that's for life. And sometimes if I am, stressed, I could see my kids getting stressed. And if I was lucky enough to remember to go back and get that over with, do that self-care, myself regulated, sometimes it's almost magic. Even if I'm not in the same room with them, they feel like, oh, okay. So I think we're good with time, Yolanda, right? We have 7 minutes? Yes. So to recap, well, cool, David Berceli at 8 p.m. It's awesome. To recap, why self-care is essential. It's not a luxury. It's not a pampering, nice to have. It really helps us have the capacity to be the parent we want to be for our kids. It also helps us teach our kids those same qualities. We regulate ourselves, we come to that sense of calmness, and they learn from that. I've tried having, a calm kid when I'm always stressed. Once I've started centering, coming back, calming myself down, understanding that I'm tense and I regulate myself, they started doing that. And it was a very, very hard lesson to learn. So we could talk about self-care for parents for, more on why it's needed. I know that it's not something that is intuitive to many parents, with different culture construct, with parenting experts telling us we need to do this and that. Ultimately, it's really, really important. I don't know if I've said that enough. And I think I hope everyone's watching now or watching the recording on Facebook Live. Something resonates with you with that, taking those few seconds during your day, minutes, and it's a practice. The more we practice and having it become an embodied part of who we are, it's an embodied self-care. And I'm sure, once you kind of be curious and find your own way of finding self-care, you can come up with a lot of cool ideas. So thank you everyone for being here. I do enjoy talking to parents about this. I hope it made sense. It makes sense in my head. So, and from the response in the chat, I think it's making sense. And if it's not, please send me an email. Yolanda, do you have my email, or shall I type it in?
If you can type it in, that would be great.
That's my email. If you want to have, if you have any questions or anything, you can let me know. I'll be presenting in October about in the leadership track, which it's about parenting, because really parents are leaders, and whatever skills we need to cultivate in leaders, we need that as well as parents. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Manal. That was wonderful. I'm not a parent personally, but I still found it really useful. Those times to step out and take care and look after yourself.
Exactly. Yes. It's Tara. Tara, you could watch the recording. It's just too late for me now to recap all of that. So thank you so much. And I would also no, this is not it. Anyway, okay.
For anyone watching either on Facebook Live or here in Blue Jeans, I'm just going to put some links in the chat. So this is brought to you by the Embodiment Conference, which is going on from the 14th to the 25th of October. We've got Manal speaking again and 1,000 speakers. So there's it's going to be a lot of content, a lot of self-care tips and everything: yoga, meditation, martial arts, leadership, relationships. Any embodiment information you might want to know, it's going to be there. I've also put a link to the embodiment circles. And if you could share the embodiment conference with one of your friends, I'm sure that they'll appreciate it. So yes. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yes, please share, please come, please join. It's going to be awesome. Thank you. And applications to present, if anyone wants to have that last minute, applications are open till September 17. And if you can't find the application link, you'll find it on the Facebook group. So yes, let's make this world more embodied.
Embodiment.
Yes, and it's awesome if we have the children learn these things. That's what I tell my kids. Well, I learned these stuff when I'm 30. How awesome it is that you are 10 and you're learning these things of how you can connect with your own body, with your own self, with the world. So yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Yolanda, and thank you, Roshan, for being here, and Jessica. Thank you. And what's coming up?
We've now got Julia Adams, who's the director of Ahead for Work, and author of best-selling books on the workplace mindfulness. And if you go to the Embodiment portal, you can find the link to join us there.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.